from start to end, that'll be really, really helpful. And if you can watch my other videos on the channel as well, that will really bring up the watch time hours. I believe I need about 4,000 or 5,000 watch time hours to monetize the channel. So it'll be very helpful if you guys can do that. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with the show. So this story was quite hilarious to me. Basically, Trump has been scamming his followers. When he first started his second term, he announced that these Trump phones would be made, and they'll be made solely in America, and it'll be a fully American product. So it's basically a MAGA product, guys. You know, everything's made in America apparently, and 600,000 people bought this product. They paid a deposit of $100 each, and total they got from this phone was 59 million has been collected from the deposits alone. And this phone was supposed to cost $499, by the way. So this gimmick of America First, this phone's going to be made fully in America, you know, America First, all the products, everything's going to be done in America, all the jobs and everything. It's all fake, guys. Not even Apple can afford to build products or iPhones in America. And if Apple cannot do it, how the hell is Trump going to do it? It's crazy. So anyway, the phone company who were making it in America, they came up with a statement saying they cannot make it, and the phone is not guaranteed, and they cannot refund the deposits as well. Refunding the deposits is not a guarantee as well, they said. So they basically made millions out of the Trump phone. And again, it's another scam by the Trump family. Trump has been scamming his followers since the beginning of his term. You know, the beginning of his term, he had some Trump coins, Melania coins, and people invested in it, and they basically cashed out, and everyone else lost. And this is the stupid MAGA cult we're talking about, the stupid MAGA people who will follow Trump for everything. They will literally, they don't mind getting scammed, they don't mind getting lied to, they don't mind their lives being destroyed, as long as they are MAGA. It's become a cult, guys, absolute cult. You know, according to them, Trump can do no wrong whatsoever. Even if he steals their money, you know, whatever he does, you know, he can't do any wrong. And that's the MAGA cult we're dealing with. These are low IQ people, absolutely low IQ. So there's another story coming out that Iran's only lost 10% of its missile capabilities. 90% of its missile storage and launch facilities are still intact. So do you remember when Trump says 100% of Iran's missile capability has been destroyed in the beginning? He said the Navy has been destroyed, the Air Force has been destroyed. It's all lies, guys, end of the day. First of all, Iran doesn't have a navy or air force. They have hundreds and hundreds of small boats that can cause a lot of damage, but it's not what you call a navy. They also got old Tomcat planes from the Shah times. They're very, very old. So Iran never really had an air force, and they never really had a navy. But things are changing now. There's lots of planes coming from China. There's lots of planes coming from Russia. So pretty soon, Iran's going to have a brand new state-of-the-art air force within the next few years. And obviously, the pilots are going to be trained. And also, Iran, as it grows militarily in the region, as it takes over the Hormuz Strait, more of these small vessels, attack vessels, are going to be made. And when America leaves the region, that's when I believe Iran can start building its own navy, and they can buy ships from China even. and they can buy submarines from China. They can buy submarines from Russia. But yeah, these missiles they couldn't destroy in 50 days of bombings. So this tells us that these missile launch sites are hidden underneath mountains. They're extremely difficult to destroy. And Iran would have learned a lot of lessons from this as well. So even now, they're probably going to be hiding them even further and getting it and making sure they are more difficult to destroy in if Trump starts another war with Iran, for example. Every time USA and Israel pick a fight with Iran, Iran always learns from its mistakes. They learned a lot from the 6 Day War from last year. From last year's 6 Day War, they took a lot of damage in the beginning of the war. They learned from that, and they applied a lot of the principles in this second round, and they caused a lot of damage to Israel and to United States. And I believe if another round comes on, the third round, I believe Iran will probably um, give more like punishment to the Israelis and to the Americans, and they'll also be hiding their missiles and capabilities further underground underneath mountains, so they're going to be very, very difficult to destroy. The main topic for today, guys, I wanted to talk about China's shipbuilding capabilities. China's shipbuilding capabilities have come very, very fast over the last few years. There was a time when South Korea was the number one shipbuilding country in the world, alongside Japan. And America's shipbuilding capacity has been completely destroyed. They have basically moved all of their manufacturing, shipbuilding to South Korea. South Korea builds most of the ships for United States. So China has come along over the last 10 years, 20 years, and their shipbuilding capability has taken a massive, massive jump. There's shipbuilding factories popping up all over China, guys, and there are some major, major ones in Shanghai, in Dalian, for example, and many other coastal cities. There are huge, huge shipbuilding facilities there, building aircraft carriers, building 055 destroyers, and the Zero Type 75 and 76, which are the amphibious units as well. And more of these shipbuilding factories are just popping up every single month. And they need to pop up they need to pop up more, because you can see from the headline here, orders have been booked until 2030. So orders have been booked till 2030, guys. So for the next 4 years, 5 years, the shipbuilding capacity in China is fully booked. So you're going to see a lot more shipbuilding capabilities and factories and dockyards and shipbuilding units, and more and more will start popping up in coastal cities in China, because you can see by the demand is huge. There's a huge demand, guys. So in terms of the global shipbuilding industry in China, every 7 out of 10 ships are being built in China. So 70% of global shipping or ships are being built in China. That's a huge, huge jump from 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there was hardly anything, but now we have taken 70% of the market share, which is amazing, guys. And you can see, it says here, foreigners are queuing up with cash but can't even secure a ship slot. It's absolutely crazy how fast China's shipbuilding has risen over the years. So the new orders have surged by 195%, capturing nearly 70% of the global market share. If you think that Chinese shipbuilding relies on low prices to seize the market, you'll completely change your mind. Data from Ministry of Industry and Information Technology shows that January to March this year, China's shipbuilding completion volume reached 15.68 million deadweight tons year-on-year, increase of 46%, which is 96% were exported ships. New orders surged to 59.53 million deadweight tons, a year-on-year increase of 195.2%. So what it's trying to say is not only China is taking on 7 out of 10 ships globally, but they are also finishing these ships much faster than South Korea, than America, obviously, and Japan, because China uses more people and more AI, more robotics, automation. So these ships are finishing much faster in a much under budget, under time as well. So this is why Chinese ships are very, very popular. So Chinese shipbuilders global market share surged to 71.61 in the first quarter and reached 80% in February alone. This means for every 10 new ships globally, 7 to 8 are placed in Chinese shipyards. So the car carriers are becoming extremely popular, with China taking up 82.3% of the market share. So many of you have seen the BYD car carriers. These are huge car carriers, guys, the biggest in the world. And they carry thousands of vehicles all across the world. And this is why, Chinese EV companies, they put a lot of orders for car carriers in the Chinese shipyards. But also, globally, other car companies will make these orders as well, like Japan, like Germany, for example, and other car making, countries. Even America basically buys a lot from China as well, especially these massive BYD car carriers. And another thing that's not mentioned here is the massive LNG market as well. So, because of the war in Ukraine, um, there was a huge LNG market where Europeans would basically buy LNG tankers from China because they would be produced very fast, very quickly. So, there's a huge market for LNG, which China is producing for the world as well. And now you can see with everything that's happening around the world with the oil prices, gas prices, these orders are just surging now because people around the world, they need more gas, they need more oil, and there's just not enough tankers around the world. Plus, there's a lot of tankers being destroyed in the Hormuz Strait as well, so they need to be replaced. And they're basically making orders in China to get a replacement. So you see, there's a huge demand for Chinese shipyards at the moment. Finally, guys, I did mention British politics in my yesterday's video briefly. I talked about reform, how low IQ people in reform are. So you can see from this rally in UK about the Reform Party. Can you see what flag is basically being shown in this Reform Party rally? So Reform Party is a British party, right? So you would expect British flags to be flown. You expect British flags to be everywhere, but no, they're not flying British flags. You can see Israeli flags everywhere. You can see Israeli flags are more prominent here than British flags. So there's a lot more Israeli flags flying around than British flags. So this tells you who the Reform Party answers to. Basically, they are Zionist guys. They are Zionist controlled, Zionist funded, and their main goal is to kick out the Muslims from Britain. They made Muslims the enemy in Britain. They're blaming everything on the Muslims. They're blaming the economy on the Muslims. They're blaming every single thing. So Muslims are the enemy in Britain, apparently. And the low IQ Reform Party people are just falling for it. So Nigel Farage, he's a right dodgy guy. Nigel Farage has been pushing Brexit. He pushed Brexit, and the British economy has been completely destroyed. He promised with Brexit, this is you know this is all over YouTube, by the way. This is all recorded in interviews he's done. He said the Brexit would give lower energy prices in UK. He said Brexit would reduce immigration. He said Brexit, Britain would get their power back. They would get their sovereignty back. And he said Brexit, Britain will be making so much money. All of it is false. All of it is fake. So this guy is like Trump. He's like the British Trump. He just makes a lot of these fake promises, and people just fall for it, guys. He lies, he lies, he lies. He promises the world, and the low IQ people in Reform who are voting for him are just falling for it. So Reform has been getting obviously a lot of funding from Israel. That's why you see a lot of Israeli flags. And Israeli policy is basically anti-Muslim policy. They are going to be doing Israeli first with all of their policies, like Trump is doing, and they're just going to attack Muslims. And that's the Reform Party in a nutshell, guys. Anyway, that's it for today. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care.